What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here, former D1 defensive back. We're gonna talk about this play here. I'm gonna bring you down memory lane a little bit, and we're gonna talk about confidence and why this DB got beat. Awesome catch by Travis Hunter. All right, but ask yourself, and I want you can even reply in the comments, but ask yourself, is this great offense or is this bad defense? And honestly, that's actually a tough question because I think it's both. All right. It is great offense, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're getting clothesline and you make a catch like this, that's great offense, but I would say it's bad defense. All right. So I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to take you down memory lane. Every single elite DB that I've talked to, I ask him, hey, do you bicycle? Do you T-step? Are you soft press? Are you pure stepping? Like, are you two hand jamming? Like, what's your philosophy, right? And I promise you, every single one of them said, you know what? There's so many techniques out there that it doesn't really matter if you're not confident. Confident is number one. I've seen, and this is going back to me personally, I have seen people talk themselves into success. I have seen people have no technique but be so confident that they could stop a receiver, that they stopped him. And nothing about their technique you could teach, right? It's just them having that dog mentality and then them believing in themselves. And I've seen people like me who everybody in college would tell me, dude, you're that guy, you're elite. And I believed it, but I didn't believe it as much as they did. I always blocked that out because I thought if you let that in, it will mess with the performance. So if I let all the praise in that I'm this guy, but I feel like I still got to work, right? Then I'll fall off my game. But in hindsight, I should have let that in but knew how to process that information, right? So I should have used that to build my confidence instead of blocking it all out because I felt like I wasn't good enough or I felt like I wasn't as good as I could have been. I hope that makes sense, right? So when you're going against, I've gone against, if you know what the Biletnikoff winner is, that's basically what Travis Hunter won, which is, the top receiver in college football. I believe he won that. So I went against two Biletnikoff winners, Brandon Cooks, who's been in the league for 10 years, Marquise Lee, who was a dog at USC, and I went against Davante Adams. So I'm going to give you guys those three names, right? And you probably only know one, depending on your age. Davante Adams, which everyone knows, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Lee. I had a better game against Davante Adams, and go look it up. Go look up Fresno State versus Hawaii 2013. So look up all of Davante Adams' stats, all right? All of his stats that year, he went crazy. Go look at when he played Hawaii in 2013. It's either 2013 or 14. I forget. It's probably 13. I had a better game against him because he was not the Davante Adams. Derek Carr wasn't the Derek Carr. So I went into it as if he was a no-name receiver and I had success. But then when I win against a Biletnikoff winner like Travis Hunter, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Lee, I gave them too much respect. Like, you shouldn't even be calling receivers by their first or last name. You should call them by number 12. All right, Brandon Cooks was like number 0 or something like that. Number 0. Marquise Lee was like number 9. All right, so leading up to that game, I was more worried about looking bad than doing well. And there's the difference. So enough about me. Let's take a look at this DB. Our goal line technique, right? He does a good job. I think we're outside leverage. Okay, which we should be protecting the fade, protecting the fade depending on his split. He looks like he's at the top of the numbers. Good lateral step, okay? Now you can back up as long as you're not backing up to the end zone and you don't just continue to back up. So I call this a gather step, lateral step, gather step. All right, so to allow that receiver to close that cushion a little bit so that we can work laterally and get our hands on him. Now this is good, even though we're kind of leaning back here. We get a flush two-hand jam on him. Now, this is where the confidence comes in, right? So Travis Hunter already scored on this DB. Either he scored on this DB or the other DB corner, sorry. and he's just going off this game, right? They haven't stopped him yet. The goal line technique that I teach and that you've heard me teach on this channel is once we get chest to chest, find the football. Find the football. Find the football. And I have to tell DBs all the time, when DBs aren't confident in their press, they think everything has to be a fight. Right now, we're fighting. Right now, we're fighting. All right, when you're not confident, okay, when you're not confident in your technique, or when you're worried about who you're guarding, or I don't want to get a head top, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he just doesn't catch the ball, and I'm going to get into a fight with him. This is what's going on here. So lack of confidence, all right, because when you do get your head around, there is a possibility of you getting head top because that ball could just fly over your head or you might miss it. But a confident DB is going to get chest to chest and get his eyes back. We never locate the football. You tell me, if we simply just turn our head, do we make this play? Yes or no? If we simply just turn our head, the ball quite literally is going to hit us in the face mask. All we have to do is turn and put our hand out, and we knock this ball down. But instead, we're so worried about denying him that we end up on SportsCenter anyway. All right, so I think this was good technique. I think it was a lack of confidence. When you don't have confidence, right? When you don't have confidence, if we're running on a fade against Brandon Cooks, right? It seemed too good to be true. I was in step with him, okay? I don't turn my head, and he catches the ball. The next time I turn my head in the same situation, I make a play. But I can sit here and tell you guys that it wasn't until I was getting beat, and then at halftime, I'm like, dude, he's not even beating me. I'm just not turning my head, or I had bad eyes, or like I'm just moving too quickly. He's not actually moving that fast. That's when I start making plays on him. Now, the correct way to do it, okay, we're close to the goal line, T. Higgins, all right? Same thing, take a lateral step, all right? We don't want to really gather or back up too much, but even though we do kind of take a step back, we're still tight on that goal line. And what did I say? Get chest to chest, find the football. Boom. How hard is that, guys? That's not hard at all. But again, this is a professional who believes in his technique, who believes that he belongs here because he's in the NFL, and believes that, believes in anticipation, the fade versus a big receiver, the fade versus Travis Hunter. And when everything checks out, when everything happens, I'm getting my head back. And this is why I like when we lean, because you see how the receiver pushes off right here. That's why you got to lean into him. Lean into him, all right? And he's unable to make a one-hand catch because he's so busy pushing off, okay? But that's how you play the fade. That's how you play the back shoulder fade on the goal line. And I believe it comes down to confidence. I've been in that DB shoes, so I'm not trying to talk, I'm not trying to, talk down on them, but I've been in a situation where I'm like, man, I was out there more worried about the name on the back of the jersey, okay, than my technique. So I talked to a former All-American, 10-year vet DB, and he was like, dude, I honestly think the position is 90% mental, 10% physical. Because if you can mentally put yourself in the right position pre-snap, if you can mentally recover from mistakes, if you can mentally go from plan A to plan B to plan C, or plan A was to stay square, but boom, he beat me off the line. Plan B, find the hip. Plan C, I can't get to the hip. Plan C is play the hands, right? So there are techniques to that, but you have to mentally make those decisions too. And I'm sorry for the long pauses, guys, because, I really wanted this to be a teaching moment in terms of your mental and how important that is to being an effective defensive back. Make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com if you want over 100 drills, guys. And I'm even throwing in 100 college drills as well. We talk about the goal line technique, press man technique, safety technique, nickel technique, speed and agility, thedbnetwork.com.